All right, everybody, how you doing? This is Robert Rivera with Who's On First, the show. And today, you'll never guess who I have. Trey Rose. He is an assistant director of baseball operations for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Is that right, Trey?
That is correct.
Okay. Well, Trey, introduce yourself.
Appreciate you having me on. Excited to talk some baseball today and maybe talk some Pirates along the way. But excited to be here. Excited, have a huge passion for baseball my entire life. I feel like I'm living a dream every single day to be able to walk into my office, which is inside the ballpark, and what I think is the most beautiful ballpark in the world. I may be a little biased there, but there's definitely some that compare, but not many. But I had to talk baseball today. I've been doing this for 7 years, and while I definitely have some room to grow every single day that I come to the office, I feel like I've gotten a good footing for the last few years, and excited for the future of baseball and for our organization for that matter.
Okay. This assistant director of baseball operations. It's such a big title. I mean, what's your role? What is it that you do?
I juggle a lot of things. I have a lot of responsibilities. I touch a lot of different areas. Baseball operations is unique because, first of all, the term baseball operations and the responsibilities are pretty ambiguous. You go to a different team, it may look completely different from what we do here, where you can't really say that for every single organization. For me, I either help support or I help lead a lot of different tasks that include roster construction, management, roster strategy, acquisition strategy, a little bit of player evaluation and scouting and so on along the way. Also help oversee a lot of our rule compliance and a lot of our industry analysis, contract negotiation, arbitration, operational budget, cultural initiatives, whole lot of things. I love the people that I get to work with and who I get to collaborate on a daily basis. A lot of diverse perspective and really interesting profiles and backgrounds from people.
All right. So you wear a lot of hats in this baseball operation. You're a little bit of jack of all trades and master of none. Is that how that works?
You can say that for sure.
Okay. So, I mean, how did you start out in the business? I mean, what did you wake up one day and say, you know what, I want to be, in the front office for the Pittsburgh Pirates? How did this journey start?
Yeah, and like many people, I always wanted to play the game of baseball forever, and that was my dream ever since I was a little kid. And unfortunately, or fortunately for that matter, an injury kind of derailed that at the age of 14. I didn't really know what to do with my life. I was a little spiteful towards baseball. I was a little frustrated with the process. Ended up missing a year and a half to 2 years of the most pivotal time of your development, and really just kind of felt like my life was in shambles. I was lucky enough to still play for a semester in college until I realized, one, my body couldn't handle it, and neither could my profile of baseball anymore. Throwing low 80s from the sidearm slot in college doesn't quite play the same way that it does in high school, and so I decided to step away. And when I stepped away, I realized that I needed it more than ever, and I didn't really know at that time what it was going to look like. But I tried to find different passion areas within baseball to kind of fulfill that void in my life. So I started to play a lot of fantasy baseball, started to write about baseball. I started my own blog that kind of blew up out of nowhere. To this day, I have no idea how it happened. And that kind of made me realize that, I'd always thought about this idea of being in a front office. I had no idea what it took. I had no idea how competitive it was. So I started to just reach out to as many people as possible and learn and ask questions and ask about their experiences and, ultimately create a puzzle piece in my head of this is what works and this is what doesn't work. And I learned that everyone's background is entirely different, regardless of whether or not they have the same role or any kind of skill set. It always comes from a different perspective and a different background. So I myself decided to take the route of going into investment banking. I thought that was something that would differentiate me from the rest of the crowd. I did that for a few months while continuing my blog and all for the hopes of interviewing and applying to positions within baseball in the upcoming December, which is typically the timeline for hiring between October and December. Interviewed with a few teams, applied to every single team. So, 30 teams across the league, was denied by 29 of them. I had a few final interviews that I thought for sure that I would have gotten. To this day. I look back at it and I still question why I didn't get it, but I'm so happy that I didn't, because the Pirates ended up calling and I was offered a fellowship at the time in our baseball operations department. And that was back in 2017, and fast forward, I'm still in that same department. It's definitely changed a little bit since I've been here, but I love the things that I do on a daily basis. I'm lucky that the thing that I identified as my passion and my dreams to start out with has continued since, which I don't think is always the most common thing. Not only do I love what I do on a daily basis, I love the people that I'm around. I love the environment that it creates. I love the relationships that I've created along the way for some people that have really played a key role in my life, not just within baseball, but with my family, with my kids. And it creates an environment where you come to work every single day loving what you do, and you love the people that you're around. And you want nothing more than to picture yourself pouring champagne on their heads one day, celebrating a World Series championship.
Wow, yeah, that's a mouthful you got there. We see front office, and I'm sure anybody watching this, the first thing they're gonna think is the movie Moneyball. Does Moneyball touch any of the stuff that you deal with?
In today's game, first of all, there's tons of different perspectives in today's game that is important. There's just as equal to the Moneyball or sabermetrics or analytics or R&D, whatever you want to call it. The subjective side of the game, scouting, is still extremely important. The performance side of the game and biomechanics are still very important. The intuition side and strategy and vision and coaching side of the game is still very important. So I'm lucky that in my role, I get to collaborate with all of these people to be able to grab perspectives and experience and expertise from all kinds of different areas and hopefully mold it into a beautiful picture of what the recommendation is going to be based off of all of that expertise plus quite a bit more. I do come from somewhat of an analytical background just in regards to my education and what I do and what I work with on a daily basis. But we have people here who can run circles around me when it comes to if you use the term sabermetrics, like that's their expertise. That's what they do on a daily basis, and they're an incredible resource to us. And obviously, people across the league are incredible resources to their team from this area. The portrayal of the movie is most definitely a fairly accurate representation, though obviously that's at the infancy stages of that time period. So it's the influence has grown and the vastness has grown in head count and in influence in what you're doing on a daily basis. But it's definitely a solid portrayal of where the game was at that time, and it's continued to grow and rise as we move forward in time and how important it is.
All right. If they said you want to do a movie with Trey Rose, who do you want to play your part there in that movie?
Man, that's a great question.
Oh my God, yes!
There's a picture of me out there floating of me in an elf costume, and I've heard people tell me I look like Will Ferrell. So I don't know if that would be the most accurate representation of me, though at times I think I have a few of those humorous moments come out, but I don't know how good Will would be in a front office. I saw him in spring training a few years ago, and obviously has a passion for baseball. So who knows? Maybe that's
All right. You're looking at acquisitions, you're looking at contracts, you're looking at dealing with players, building relationships. I'm sure you're doing all of that stuff. But have you ever had a moment where you look at numbers and you say, you know what? I'm throwing this to the wind. I don't like the numbers. It's just a straight gut feeling. Have you ever had a possibility or chance of doing that?
Yeah, I think the way that I look at decision making in baseball is that people oftentimes ask me, what percentage of analytics do you guys do in your office, or how heavy are you in scouting? And to me, it's all contextual. It's all dependent on what the story is of the player that you're trying to create. And some players that we scout or some players that we value may have zero data on them. It may have no numbers, no statistics. And so we have to rely on the intuition and the skills and the expertise of our scouts and of people who have been around the game forever. And obviously me having a playing background, I feel somewhat comfortable with the evaluations in similar stances. But, of course, those moments come up, or even sometimes when you do have data, you look at it and you go, something's fishy or something doesn't smell right, or, hey, I'm going to bet on the traits of this player that they may not be playing a role right now, but they're going to play a role one day. So I think it happens all the time. And it can go in the opposite direction as well. Sometimes the evaluation of players, sometimes a player may look funky and he may not look the way that you would expect a player to look, or his swing is ugly, or our scouts don't like him, or I don't like him, or whoever. And then all of a sudden you look at the numbers and you go, holy cow, this guy doesn't miss anything. And, something doesn't add up here. And so to me, it's like I said, it's all contextual. You have to find a way to make the puzzle pieces fit into what you think is the right puzzle. There's a lot of different instances where you just have to be able to weigh things in different ways.
Yeah. I've had instances where I'll sit there and look at a kid and I see him in the batting cages, and I'm like, this kid's so herky jerky, and his hands are floating, and then I turn away and I don't look at him, and you hear that bing. You're like, huh, maybe he's got something. I can hear the pinging. Career-wise, what is your ultimate goal?
I want to win a World Series. I don't care where I'm at or what I'm doing. That's what drives me to come to the ballpark. You know, when I first came in this game, and really like when I first graduated college, I was more focused on status and, hey, what are you getting paid out of school and so on. I quickly realized that, you know, yes, it's nice. I would love to get paid great money, and I would love to have all of the titles in the world, but nothing compares to when you come to an environment where, you know, you're surrounded by people that have shared sacrifice and shared passions and shared goals and shared mindsets working towards the same thing. And that's that we come to work every single day and are working towards getting a ring on our finger and, you know, holding up that trophy and pouring champagne on our heads, like I said earlier. So that's my goal. You know, what I'm doing, who knows? I don't know. I love the role that I'm in. I love the responsibilities that I do. You know, one thing that I've always been very passionate about since day one of my life, and that's, you know, ultimately because of my biggest role model, which is my mom, is that, you know, leadership is something that has always driven me. And it's because I get to help other people develop and I get other people to reach their dreams. And so any kind of role that I could be leading people towards getting better, either individually or collectively as a group, and working towards common goals has always been something that stands out to me. And I'm lucky that I get to do that a little bit now with some folks. And that's truly like my why and what drives me to come to work every day outside of just wanting to win. So who knows what that role is? Baseball is a weird game at times. So we'll see what it brings in my future, but I'm pleased and excited about where I'm at right now and the people that I'm with.
Speaking of your mom, my wife and your mom met in Texas, and that's how we got connected. Your mom's a newly crowned national. I mean, you say you got some of your stuff from your mom. I mean, what have you taken away from your mom that you're applying today?
So much. You know, drive, passion, genuine attitudes, caring for people, hard work, perseverance, never giving up. I could go on for days and talk about it, but the biggest thing is that, you know, dreaming big. That's what her whole motto has been since I was 5 years old in this company. And I've heard it my whole life, and I never knew the importance of it until, you know, later in life as to how to really incorporate that into what I'm doing on a daily basis. But she's always taught me that there's no dream that's too big. She's also taught me that dreams don't come easy. You know, you're going to fall on your face at times, and you're going to struggle at times, and people around you are going to struggle at times, and they may pull you down at times. And I saw her many a years have massive goals that she was so close to attaining, and it didn't happen. And it just forced her to work harder, and it fueled this energy of just nothing was going to get in my way. But the way that she did it was so genuine. It was with care and with love for people. And it never was focused around individual contributions or, you know, individual pulling other people down to get to where they want to go. And so I saw this teammate attitude and this giver attitude that was focused around all of the right things. And ultimately, I also got to watch her be an incredible mom, not just an incredible saleswoman or an incredible leader or an incredible businesswoman. I got to see her be an incredible mom along the way as well, and to continue to pour into me and to pour into her marriage and to pour into other areas of her life, her faith and other things. And that's not easy, especially in baseball. Yeah. It's not easy to have other passions and have other things to be able to pour into. And so I saw her, you know, be intentional at times, at all times. And she's really been a walking role model for me to look up to. And it continues to be a confidant to be able to share frustrations, share happiness, share excitement. I will never forget the day that I got my first ever job in baseball. I got a call at the dinner table around 7:00 at night. I took the call from our assistant GM at the time. He offered me the job. They all were sitting at the dinner table, and they rushed to the living room where I was taking the call. And my stepdad and my mom jumped up and down on me as if I had won the World Series. And, you know, that's the perfect representation of that moment in my life that was probably the most important to my, at that time, was just as important to them as it was to me, which is a huge representation of of the caring individuals that my mom is and my stepdad was, and so on. Not to mention that I've been surrounded by tons of family members that have been extremely impactful in my life. My dad is very similar. It's just that I get to watch my mom do this on a stage that has been so impactful for me being in Mary Kay.
Yeah, Mary Kay, dream big. There's no such thing as a small dream. Just like my motto, keep swinging. I tell guys, keep swinging. Now, you're in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Tell me about Pittsburgh and tell me about the fans that you have over there.
Pittsburgh, I love it. It feels like home, which is all you can ask for when you have no family here. I have no family that's anywhere closer than Virginia to here. So the fact that I get to raise my family, I have 2 sons and a wife that live here with me, and we call it home. It feels like home. It's not a forced home. It's very welcoming, and it's a great place from day one to be a part of. I love the diversified culture. You have tons of immigrants over time have come here and have settled here, which has brought a really rich culture of different areas of the world that I think is really important. You can see it in the food, you can see it in the neighborhoods, you can see it in even just what people look like. And it really is centered around, to me, what is just extremely hardworking, passionate individuals. And you can see it in every single sport that you go to here. It can be baseball, it can be football, it can be hockey. They love to win. And I respect that because I want nothing more than to win as well. There's a lot of rich history here in all of those sports, and there's high standards that you have to meet. We're aiming to get there, and I feel really confident that this is the best place that we've been in a long time, and there's a plan, and that we're heading in that direction, and we have the right people and the right players and the right processes in place in order to do that. There's nothing better than coming to this ballpark when it is packed, and I can tell you right now that the environment is, I would not want to be on the other team. It's difficult. It's intimidating. I get chill bumps just thinking about it, and especially when you go back and you watch clips from some of those playoff games from 13 through 15, and seeing what that environment brings. And we're excited to bring that back here one day soon. And the fans definitely deserve it. So we're pumped.
So, tell me about this beautiful field in PNC Park. What sets it apart from any other stadium?
Shoot, you can look in your background right there. That right field picture of the stadium looks like a painting. There are days where you sit there and you go, is this real? Is this the real backdrop of a stadium? Whether it be the Clemente Bridge or the beautiful downtown or just the complexity of what this ballpark brings. There's a lot of nuance to it that not a lot of people are aware of, and it's built right into the fabric of what this field is. My favorite fun fact of the stadium is in right field. Roberto Clemente, which I'm sure we'll get to in a bit, plays a huge role in my life that I'm very fortunate, and I wish I got to meet the man that I very much view as a hero of mine. Played right field for us for a long time and was one of the best players of all time. And it's commemorated by the fact that our right field wall is exactly 21 feet high in commemoration of him. And there's things like that throughout the ballpark that are really special beyond just the beautiful nature of being able to watch a game. I truly don't think there's a bad seat in the stadium. I've sat in almost every single section. Every section brings about a different perspective and a different view of the game. And we continue to add things to it along the way that continues to make it one of, or if not the best stadium in baseball.
Okay. So now here I am. I just got into baseball. Tell me why I should be a Pittsburgh Pirates fan.
Man, there's so many reasons. It could be a lot of the reasons that we talked about today. You're going to have a group of fans around you that have high standards and they want the best for their organization, and they're going to root passionately. There's a rich history of success dating back to being one of the first teams to ever play the game of baseball. And not many teams can say that, obviously. We've been doing it for a long, long time. And we have great players in history, and we have great players right now to root for. And ultimately, I know people are going to be focused around wanting to create championship baseball or championship caliber baseball in Pittsburgh. And I think we're well on our way there. We have some really, really talented young players that are currently in the big leagues or knocking right on the steps to be there. And we're really excited about it. We're seeing streaks of it now. We're seeing moments of it. Of course, we had some frustrations along the way as well. And that's part of being a young team. And ultimately, I think the one thing I can really talk about and feel confident about is that the culture that we are building here, whether that be through our coaching staff, through our players, through our fans, the culture is real. And it's a culture of wanting to breed success. It's a culture of wanting to work hard, to be intentional, and to be centered around the fact that we want to do what's best for our players and our fans and our staff here. And I feel really strongly about that, and got to continue to build towards something special, and hopefully we'll get there soon.
Yeah. Now we talk about the right field, the wall, the Roberto Clemente Bridge, and everybody that knows me, if you know me, I'm a Roberto Clemente huge fan. And here's some of my baseball cards, Roberto Clemente, and this is one of my newer acquisitions there. I was named after Roberto Clemente, and they kind of shortened it. They just called Robert. So, but your kids have some interesting names too.
Cal and Griffey.
Cal and Griffey. Look at this. Oh man, I think it's Cal Robert. Was it Cal Robert?
Cal Nolan, which has quite some influence there, and then Griffin, we call him Griffey Robert Rose.
Griffey Robert. See, I knew I liked that kid for a reason. There you go. That's good. The impact of Roberto Clemente in Pittsburgh. It's huge. Yet to be there. I'm gonna be there this September. You mentioned Roberto Clemente, and people I've yet to hear anything bad. Anybody ever say anything bad about him? He was always a people's person, genuine person, cared about people, loved the kids, wanted to show the people other things. And he always said he was a champion for the people. I mean, what are your thoughts on Roberto?
You summed it up pretty well right there. I'm lucky enough to be a great friend to the owner of the Roberto Clemente Museum, Dwayne Reeder, and I've spent many a days there, many hours there. My kids were there before they were the age of 3 days for both of them, and it's a really special place for me to be able to step into a place that has so much history of a man that meant so much to this game, but meant even more to the society and to the places that he loved, places that he called home, places that he didn't call home, places that he just cared about. I don't think that there's a lot of people in this world, not just baseball players, who can say that they had the platform that they were on and they were so talented at their craft, but yet they were known even more for the humanitarian that they were, to give back to the communities that they care for. And he lost his life doing so. Obviously lost his life at a very young age with 3 very young kids that I'm lucky to call my friends as well. And I've learned so much about this man's life and what he lived for, and continues to impact this world even when he's not here, through his wife for many years who has since passed away, through his sons, through communities, through the Pirates. It's truly incredible to see the work that he did and the work that continues to be done under the name of Roberto Clemente. He will forever go down as one of the best to ever play the game, and will likely go down as the best Pirate to ever play the game. But it's what he did for the city of Pittsburgh, for Puerto Rico, for Nicaragua, for all over the place. He gave back to communities that he cared for. And he was an incredible man that served as a role model for many, and continues to serve for a role model for many.
When I was down at the WBC in Miami, Puerto Rico had played Nicaragua. There was a delegation there from Nicaragua that was wearing Roberto Clemente jerseys. And it kind of shocked me that here we are 50 years later, and there's 80 people who are cheering for Team Nicaragua to play against Puerto Rico wearing a Roberto Clemente jersey. I could have never have fathomed that in a million years. But at the end of the game, they saw me. I had Puerto Rico hat, Puerto Rico jersey, and they were coming to us, and me and my brother, and they were like, "Hey, we want to take a picture with you guys. You guys from Puerto Rico? Yeah, Puerto Rico, come on, And they wanted to take a picture mixed with Nicaraguans and Puerto Ricans. And to think 50 years later, like I said, to put that tie together, he loved people, and they remember him today, and they still say he's a great man. So to me, that was amazing. So who are your baseball heroes? Have you ever met anybody, ever come through the stadium and say, "Oh my God, that's Nolan Ryan," or that's,
Yeah. My childhood hero was Justin Verlander. I've had multiple moments in my life to meet him, and it's been a great honor. He really shaped a lot of how I viewed the game as a kid. Being a pitcher, he grew up in the same hometown, played with the same travel ball team that I did, not obviously with me. But I've since been able to watch an incredible career that I remember rooting for him when he was coming out of ODU as a kid, and I knew he was a high pedigree player that had a bright future, but it's hard to ever imagine that a player is going to have a career that's going to wind up in the top 10 of career pitchers. So it's been incredible to watch him. I've been really lucky to meet him here twice. Was with them at the Clemente Museum not too long ago as well. So definitely grateful for my job to be able to give me moments to meet my childhood hero. And I'm excited to give hopefully the same moments to my children as I see him. My little boy walks around yelling for Cutchy and for Hayes and for Cruz, and it's, he loves the game probably more than I do at this moment, which is
So do you see your son being in a front office guy, or?
We'll see. He has a lot of interest and a lot of passions right now. He turns 2 this upcoming week, and I swear he's already a better hitter than I ever was. So we'll see. Who knows? We'll let his passions dictate where he goes. But you can see that he's at least passionate about what his dad does for right now.
Yeah. Let's say I'm 14, 15-year-old kid, and I come to you and I say, hey, Trey, you know what? One day I want to be in your shoes. I want to be in your office. I want to be a front office guy. What advice would you give him?
It's hard to get these jobs. There's no doubt. And I always tell people, continue to persevere, continue to dream big, continue to ask for advice and differentiate yourself. And to, ultimately this job takes passion. So continue to dive into this game and learn as much as you can, and have fun with it. This industry is a passion-based industry. If you ever lose the passion, then it's not for you. So go watch baseball games, go evaluate players from your own lens, go ask questions, go take a class on different skill sets that you think are important to baseball, and ultimately build relationships through the game. Build relationships through people that you meet, through fans that you meet, through players you meet, through staff members that you meet. It's a journey to get into these types of roles. And I always tell people it's not going to be an easy one. There's going to be bumps in the road. Yeah! There's going to be times that you feel like you're kicked and you fall down.
Yeah.
But just persevere through it, and you're going to find a way to get your foot in the door, whether it be with the Pittsburgh Pirates or whether it be through a non-baseball team. It could be through Baseball America. It could be through writing a blog. It could be through doing research projects in college. Think about it in a creative sense, that get your foot in the door, learn as much as you can, and differentiate yourself in order to put yourself in the best position.
Okay. All right. That sounds pretty good. So I got some curveball questions. So now you're the manager of a team, and I want you to give me your lineup now, past. I want you to give me 9 guys you're going to put on that field. Who would you put up?
I'm going to put Ohtani in every single position.
Thank you.
I like it. That's it. Game's over. This bad boy's done. 27 up, 27 down. What do you think?
That's a great question. Let's see. We'll go. Are we trying to field the best team possible, or like let's do some of my favorites. I'll
whoever
do
you want. It's your team.
Let's go Johnny Bench behind the dish.
Okay.
We're gonna go Verlander on the mound, of course.
All right. First base.
First base. I love seeing how Miguel Cabrera plays the game. I really love. I feel like he's the best pure hitter of my lifetime. So, I'll put his bat in the lineup any day to watch him play.
Okay.
Second base, let's go Dustin Pedroia. I loved how he played the game. I loved the grit. I loved the determination. I loved what he brought to a game, even outside of just what the baseball skill sets were. Shortstop, I got to go Cal Ripken. Played a somewhat of a role in my life, if I'm going to name my kid. Maybe not after him. My middle name is Calvin, so it was after me, but my great-grandmother, Cal Ripken, was her hero, and I remember hearing about him my entire life growing up, so we'll stick him there. Third base, I'll throw a real curveball at you. This is one of my childhood favorite players. Morgan Ensberg with the Houston Astros was my guy growing up, and had a few really, really great years with the Astros. So I'm sure I could probably figure out a few guys who may be a little bit more talented in the long run, but I'll take Morgan Ensberg there.
Yeah, hell of a bat. He had a pretty good bat.
Yeah. We'll take Roberto Clemente in all 3 outfield spots. I'll throw him in right field. I mean, obviously he's the great one. He's the guy who can do no wrong. So I'll have him there. Throw Mike Trout in center field. I think that there's a chance that we're watching one of, if not the best players to ever have played baseball there. Truly an incredible talent, and seems like an incredible human being as well. And then just to throw some controversy at you, I'll go Barry Bonds in left. I think he's the best hitter of all time, regardless of what happened and what he's done. I think it takes a massive amount of skill set in order to barrel up a ball like that on such a frequent basis. And when I find myself bored, I will go on Baseball Reference and I will look at some of his biggest years, and they literally look like video games. So we'll go there. I would throw Ohtani in the DH. Gotta have him there, and would be a part of the rotation as well. And if I had to go with a closer, I would give me David Bednar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a curveball for me. All right. Yeah.
We gotta get the local Yinzer in there. Have some great icy light after a good save. Incredibly talented individual who's a great human being as well. So.
Okay. I mean, all right. That sounds great. All right. Got another curveball question. Do you think Topps should make cards for the front office guys? What do you think? What do you think that would be cool?
You don't want this face on a card. I can promise you that. That's the paper itself is worth more than that. So
I can see it now. I'll trade you a Jeffrey Lara and a Brian Cashman for 3 Trey Roses. What do you think?
I don't think anyone would make that trade. No, I'll stick with my baseball cards will be the ones that I got when I was 5 years old playing Little League. Those will be the end of my days on baseball cards.
Well, listen, Trey, I appreciate you so much for being on. Any parting words for everybody?
Just appreciate you having me on here. Appreciate the questions. Some of them were definitely hard, so I enjoyed them. Just root for the Pirates, man. I feel like we're heading in the right direction, and we're excited for it. So appreciate your time on here.
Oh, absolutely. Get out to Pittsburgh. I'm going to see Trey in September. I'm going to be there for Roberto Clemente Day, and we're going to meet Trey, and we're going to look at the stadium. We're going to do all kind of stuff. Yeah, I appreciate you being on, and if anything I can do for you, let me know, and we'll definitely see you in September.
Perfect, man. Thanks for having me on.
All right, guys, remember, as we say here on Who's On First, keep swinging. Like Trey said, big dreams always.
If you like the show, please do me a favor. Subscribe. Right? You see it? It's right there. Subscribe, share, like, and don't forget, put that bell on. It'll ding you when I put something else on, all right?